What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And if you don't know who I am, I run a Canadian clothing company called K-Bud that's doing well into the six figures in sales. So I help clothing brands like yours get really good results. And what I'm going to share with you in this video is something that I've learned through doing dozens of brand reviews. I recently just did a brand review that was a perfect example of this. And what I'm talking about is when brands have really good ideas, they have a really great concept, but for whatever reason, they're not expressing what their brand truly is about, that brand concept, well enough to their audience. And so what you're left with is this feeling like, oh, this brand's really onto something. They have this great idea, but it's not being executed well enough. And I want to talk to you about how to look at this, how to make sure that your brand is being expressed well enough and focused enough for your audience so that you can really get powerful results. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if designs are something that you struggle with, I really recommend that you try them out. I've sold thousands of these designs through my website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code apparel when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so the example that I'm going to share with you here is something that I think a lot of clothing brands have as an issue with their brand, something that they need to work through, they need to master in order to really start making sales. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of brands, it's something that they're not aware of. They don't realize that this is an issue. So I'm really excited to shine a light on this for your own brand through the example that I'm going to share with you here. So the clothing brand owner that came my way for a brand review was 70 years old, trying to start up a clothing brand. And at first I was thinking, that's really not normally the type of people that I try to help out with starting a clothing brand. But his clothing brand concept I thought was really, really good. And his concept was going after the older fitness crowd. And his brand was called Ageless Warriors because he's 70 years old, super jacked, hitting the gym all the time. And he noticed that when he's going to the gym, there's a lot of people who are, over 60 years old in there working out. They're still in really good shape. And he's trying to resonate with that group. And I was thinking, well, that's probably a demographic that really hasn't been gone after much. And, I think it would be cool for those people to have a brand that is sort of representing them, sort of inspires them to keep going at that age. And I thought that's a really good idea. While I was doing the review, I went over to his website and I noticed that a lot of the models that he was using to model his clothing were the younger crowd. They weren't people over 50. Everything sort of just looked like a regular fitness brand, even though the concept I thought was really good and would also, to foreshadow here, I think would also lend itself really well to Facebook and Instagram ads because you can target that demographic of people over the age of 70 who are into fitness, and you could really target them well. But the issue was that the way it was being expressed was just not connecting enough. It wasn't going deep into what the brand was all about. And the brand, in my opinion, should have had all models on the website that are modeling the clothing over the age of 70. And inside of his Facebook ads, inside of his Instagram ads, inside of his advertising, all of the models and creatives that he was using should have been like a 70-year-old guy who's just jacked out of his mind, bench pressing like 300 pounds with like a smile on his face, and then like ageless warriors, for the older crowd who, can outlift the younger crowd. I don't know, something like that, right? Like something that would really resonate with that older crowd who's going to the gym and still just like out competing all like the younger kids who are just like not even doing that. Something like that would be kind of fun and creative and that would really resonate with the audience. None of that was really existing. And the reason why I'm bringing this to the channel is because I think that this happens for a lot of brands. They have a really great idea, it's really unique, but for whatever reason, the way that they're expressing it, the way that they're actually putting it into the world, it's not connecting enough. And when I saw his brand and sort of this issue of having a great idea, but not really executing on it to create that focus around his brand that really connects with his audience, it reminded me of my brand when I first started, because my brand was the exact same way. I had this really great idea. I wanted to go after sort of the humorous side of Canada, the crazy things that we say. But in my mind, I was just like, in the way that I was executing it in the real world, it was just like slapping designs on t-shirts, posting people in the trees, sort of like doing just generic Canadian things. And I hadn't leaned into the uniqueness of the brand and peeled back the layers enough yet to really get to the core of what it is. And now when you look at my brand today, if you go through my website, it's like all ridiculous Canadian sayings, trying to really amplify that a lot. Everything is really funny, everything's really humorous. And I've just over the years leaned into that more and more because I've recognized that the more I actually get focused on that one thing that makes my brand special, the more the results just get easier and easier to get, the more people are enjoying it, the more the brand is really resonating with my audience. So staying away from this really generic place and going into what your brand is all about is like so insanely powerful. And I think it's actually something that's necessary, something you have to do in order to really start getting those results for your brand. And just to go even deeper into this, focus is what we're talking about here. Because the more focused your brand is, the less loosey-goosey and random, and the more it's just that like powerful, unique thing, it's gonna really ping off people. Like people are gonna really feel like this brand has something unique. This brand is doing something different. And that's what you're trying to go after here. I think that all of this generic stuff is really hard to make work as a clothing brand because there are so many generic brands out there. And that, just to loop back, is why I originally thought it was such a great idea that this guy had for his brand to go after this older fitness crowd. Ageless Warriors, I thought was a great name, but it needs to be like amplified. Like what you're doing needs to be like explosive in that particular area. Because if it was all like older models who were jacked in the gym and like kind of you just like lean into that more and more and more and just like express that really, really clearly and focused, then those people are going to be like, this is so sick. This is so for me. This is so unique and different from, you know, the generic brands out there that are just trying to sell a t-shirt because they're going after people who are motivated and who like to work out a lot. And there's just nothing to really, you know, latch onto. So for your brand right now, this is what I want you to do. Just ask yourself, is my clothing brand concept unique? Does it have a unique spin on it that's never really been done before? Similar to the Ageless Warriors brand concept that I thought was great, where not only are they going after the fitness crowd, but it's a particular audience within the fitness crowd that really hasn't been gone after much with a clothing brand, right? And it's got that unique sort of identity to it. And then an even more important question to ask yourself for your own clothing brand is, with this brand concept, how accurate is my real world expression of the brand through the website, the pictures that you're using, the words that you're using, the marketing that you're doing on Facebook? How accurate is what you've created to the whole concept itself? And as an example, with the Ageless Warriors thing, it doesn't make much sense to be putting out pictures of people who are the younger crowd if you're going after people who are over the age of 70, right? And I think that this discrepancy exists in a lot of clothing brands, and it's something that they're not really aware of. It's something that I slowly had to figure out while growing my brand. And you want to make sure that the way that you're expressing your brand, that what you've created is an accurate representation of the unique brand concept that you had going on in your brain. And when you get that right and you really lean into it and you amplify it, you express it fully without holding back and trying to appeal to everybody, but you really lean into it and you just own what you are as a brand, that is when you're going to get really good results for your brand, especially if your marketing's right and you put that in front of the right people who are exactly who you're trying to resonate with. That's when really, really special things happen for your brand. And it's a work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's something to be aware of and it's something to work towards. So I really hope that helps. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, please hit the like button for me. It really helps me get these videos out there. And let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass and you can watch the whole thing for free. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.